an adult that has grown up in America. She is not a baby America. In fact, these are people that tag themselves as the so-called privilege owners. These are people that feel like they own America, right? So, as at this point in time, we should expect them to know better. In fact, we should expect them to build better. In fact, we should expect them to wax better. But this is the only time that this adult is literally sitting down and now want to educate Americans on how to go about the issue happening. This education did not come since. These educations that Black Americans have literally been educating for decades, for years. It did not come until when things started going bizarre. She now deem it fit, instead of looking out for another route of how she can literally approach us for us to like help her, watch her videos, support her content, blah, blah, blah. It is now that she wants, just watch this video. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, like this video, drop me a comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. For disclaimers, this is just for educational purposes only, not to come here and ruffles on anyone's shoulder. Let's watch. Then I will say what I have to say.
This is it, guys. This is the tipping point. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'm going to tell you how to prepare for the impending civil and world war. And I know that that sounds scary, and I am not trying to fearmonger here, but please stay with me. Today, J.D. Vance went on record and publicly declared that that ICE officer who shot Renee Good has absolute immunity before an investigation is even complete and they have all of the facts. So you know what else that means? That means he thinks he has immunity and Trump has immunity. He just gave every member of ICE permission to unalive Americans. Let me repeat that. Our vice president of the goddamn United States gave total immunity to ICE, to off Americans. Don't get it twisted. This is state-sanctioned harm. The same shit that happened in 1930s and 1940s Germany. They are telling us that our lives come second to their authority. And here's the part that people might want to hear. If you are actually paying your taxes still, well, you can stop now. Because for the last year, they have taken away our rights, our benefits, our opportunity in the United States, and now they've actually taken away our protection. And our government is co-signing government agencies hunting us down and saying that it is okay. Meanwhile, they want to send $100,000 to each citizen in Greenland while most of us can't even frickin' buy food. We are being destabilized internally while things are escalating with Russia, with China, with Venezuela, with Europe, and more. We have a fucking target on our backs right now, and we're supposed to pretend like this is all normal? Hell no. This is how societies slide into civil conflict, with erosion, with fear, and with unchecked power. And so this is what I'm going to leave you with. We didn't call World War I and World War II those names when they were happening, okay? Let that sink in. 2, you need to stop paying your taxes, and you need to keep cash on hand, and you need to have things that you can barter. 3, I hate to say it, but you need to be prepared in your homes, and you need to know how to protect yourself. So take that for what it's worth. I know that this feels heavy. It is. But if we have learned anything from history, it is that power without accountability always turns on the people. And it is time that we stand up.
Some of y'all have seen the responses of white women who are acting surprised about the behavior and the reaction of white men to the death of Renee Good. Talking about something, I'm leaving my husband. I can't believe they don't care about this. Ma'am, you knew this. You knew this. Stop. Nobody's telling you to lie. Ma'am, your husband's probably ICE. If not ICE, they definitely support him. And now they feel like they're in danger. Ma'am, you've been in danger. You've been in danger. Your husband probably been the same person laughing when black folks lost their lives or when natives was getting chased down by ICE. You just didn't care because you weren't the center of this. Now that you're the center, you feel like the prey instead of the predator towards other minority groups. But white women separating themselves from their male counterparts the moment that shit gets real is not a new concept. For example, the feminist movement, the moment that white women needed a leg up in America, they recruited black women with promises of working together so they can get equal and fair benefits, right? The moment that white women were able to stand up, they stood right on top of black women. Ever since black people gained civil rights in the 1960s, white women have actively voted side by side with their male counterparts against black and brown people. Prior to that, always remember the most horrific Black Wall Street, the most horrific things that happened on American soil, especially the black and brown people, were instigated, fabricated, and manufactured by white women. And instead of having an actual come to Jesus moment, they will gaslight you and tell you that they knew nothing about this. People, learn your history.
To unalive Americans. Let me.
Why they acting like immunity is something new? Remember this?
We're going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job.
This happened around the time Sonia Massey was deleted. She wasn't out there obstructing justice or protesting. She was at home, out of the way, calling for support, and not even 2 minutes onto the scene, she was deleted. Black people was the only one, black Americans was the only one outraged by this police immunity, him giving police immunity. No other community, right? Because what police is to black Americans is what ICE is to immigrants, but nobody else was outraged by the immunity statement, right? But black Americans. So no one cares what happened to the black American community, long as it doesn't happen to their community, right? Long as you don't bring it over here. Now, God bless that lady's heart, that got deleted by ICE agents. Now you're talking about giving them full immunity, and it's an issue. It's like national outrage. But black Americans was already talking about, hey, police immunity, that's a problem. At least for the black American community, nobody cared because, that's your community issue, right? So, everything that's happening already been called out by black Americans. And y'all know what they told the black American community? Stop being a victim. Immunity is not an issue. Just comply and y'all gonna be all right. Kendrick Lamar words, y'all gonna be.
This is the most shocking video I have ever seen.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
I don't do this much anymore. If you're a Trump supporter, please stay for this and comment. I'm going to just say it exactly how it is. Our administration, and think about the Germans back then, right? Our administration gives orders to an internal police who are not accountable as long as they follow the orders. So if a guy in an unmarked van pulls up in a mask and you resist and he kills you, he's fine. But if you are going to a camp that you cannot get out of, you are not in control, you cannot be contacted, and you are not given a trial, you just go. So there's one person in charge, the person at the top. They give the orders. They are the ones who decide what happens. If you follow the orders, you're fine. If you resist the orders, you are in danger. If you go with the orders, you're in a camp. Is this starting to sound directly like something else? Do you see what I'm saying? Screw left and right. I'm not talking about that. I don't care. We're not talking about policy right now. We're talking about what's happening. We're talking about this. Just to be ultra clear, he is directly lying, JD Vance. He's saying something that is not true. Federal law enforcement has never had absolute immunity. Those are just words. Do you understand? Absolute immunity is just a word. What he's saying is, yes, the people that we give instructions to have no accountability. They will not get in trouble if they do what we tell them to do. Do you see? That is completely insane, and puts everybody in danger.
Escalating with Russia, with China, with Venezuela, with Europe, and more.
Black Americans have been dealing with police brutality and the issues that we've been facing with literally being unalived for decades, for centuries, since the inception of this country, but specifically with police brutality. This has been a really, really big issue in our community because of qualified immunity. And we've been yelling from the rooftops, hey, at some point this is going to affect you all. Nobody listens to us. The reason why the country is the way that it is, and now white Americans are finally starting to feel and understand what it means to be an American as a black person, just a little smidge, is because of racism. Racism! For her to get up there and be like, oh, our, this, they're just giving them the right to just unalive us in the street. It's like, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, y'all been saying all lives matter when we've been talking about Breonna Taylor, when we've been talking about Tamir Rice, when we've been talking about George Floyd, when we've been talking about Sandra Bland. Y'all been saying, oh, all lives matter, just comply. Now y'all trying to say her name with this Caucasian lady that got unalive. Now, I'm not saying that she deserved it, but it's just very ironic how now you guys are trying to emulate and imitate what we've been doing to fight for your rights now, because you feel like your rights are being infringed upon, when this is something that we literally have been experiencing and we have been shouting out to the rooftops about. Now, let me just give y'all a little snippet of what qualified immunity means, because a lot of people don't know. So qualified immunity is a legal doctrine protecting government officials like police from liability in civil lawsuits for damages unless their conduct violates clearly established statutory or constitutional rights, meaning a prior case with nearly identical facts found such as conduct unconstitutional. The judge may rule aims to let officials perform duties without fear or frivolous lawsuits, but faces criticism for hindering accountability for misconduct such as excessive force, and is a key point in debates over police reform and injustice. Now, if y'all don't think that ICE is a government agency or that ICE agents aren't government officials, then you must be smoking something. Once again, I feel like, people that are illegal should take the right procedures to get themselves legalized and become actual citizens. They do it in every other single country. So that is not something that is just like exclusive to the United States of America. However, if you all funky butts, especially the white tea folks, if you all would have listened to us and did not continue to feel like you were so immune and above and beyond, then we wouldn't have this problem, because we would have been both on the right side of things. A lot of things that are implemented in this country were put there to directly affect Black Americans. And now ain't no fun when the rapper got the gun. But because that would mean that we got the gun. We ain't got the gun. The government got the gun pointed at your ass now. Welcome to the goddamn show, bitch. Welcome to the show. Everything that we have suffered through because of racism, you all are now one of the first generations to really start to feel the heat because of it. I see y'all crying up and down the internet talking about not being able to afford this student loan debt. Why y'all think we paying for colleges? It's because they didn't want Black Americans to have access. Y'all crying about not having medical and health insurance. Why is it not free? It's because y'all didn't want Black Americans. You all continuously voted against your interests because of racism. Now look, so to sit up here and say, oh, we all need to prepare. No, you need to be telling your white folks, you all need to prepare. Now, if something comes our way and we have to assemble, we will. But this is something that you all really need to fight hard against, because this is your Meemaw and your Peepaw and them fault. Spread love is the Brooklyn way. What y'all think about this? This is so wow.
Legal experts are clapping back after J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller claimed the ICE agent that fatally shot Renee Good has absolute immunity. So you might have seen these clips.
The guy's protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties.
Well, now tons of legal experts are calling them out. Like this public defender, he's not a lawyer. There is no blanket immunity for criminal behavior. States can and should hold federal agents accountable. For this constitutional law expert, the idea that a federal agent has absolute immunity for crimes they commit on the job is absolutely ridiculous. He went on to say that more than 120 years of case law shows that it's up to the courts to decide if a federal officer can be charged, and they absolutely can be if they've broken the law. And then this is super interesting. A law professor wrote, "Your now weekly reminder that Stephen Miller did not go to law school and has no idea what he's talking about at all. Also of note, if this DHS is now citing Stephen Miller, well, I have been circumspect on a Miller impeachment because he has not gone through Senate confirmation." She went on to explain that if Miller has direct control over DHS's actions, then you could make the argument that he's acting as a principal officer and therefore impeachable regardless of whether or not he's been confirmed. We'll see how that shakes out, but it does seem cut and dry if you listen to people who actually know the law. No ICE agent, especially Jonathan Ross, is immune to prosecution. News Girls will keep bringing you all the news coming out about ICE and the Trump administration, so follow to stay in the loop.
The Trump regime is beginning to scramble with panic due to the exposure that the incident with this ICE agent who blew off the face of a 37-year-old white woman in Minnesota is getting. And with the more exposure that the incident gets from the protests that are taking place in Minneapolis, from the assistant from Minneapolis police force, you understand, the mayor of Minneapolis even speaking out on it. And now other states are getting involved with the protests. The Trump regime is starting to lose the control that they have over this propaganda that they wanted to spin with this situation, making it seem like this ICE agent was doing everything in his power out of self-defense, like he had to do it. Problem is there's too many cameras that picked up everything. They picked up everything, including a slowed down clip right here where the victim who had her face blown off, also one of her children was in the car when this happened, literally yielding and waving to the exact car that the ICE agent who took her life was in to pass. She's literally telling them to go. They tried to make it seem like this ICE agent, you understand, was being threatened. He was never being threatened. They tried to make it seem like she was trying to run him over. He was not in her path. And now they're scrambling. Initially, they were trying to stall off this investigation. They were trying everything in their power to stall it. But because of the protests that erupted literally hours within the situation happening all across Minneapolis and now spreading throughout the United States, they have no choice. So what the Trump regime was hoping to do now was just use the same play that they've always been using, spread propaganda. We're going to tell everybody that this ICE agent was doing what he had to do, that his life was threatened, and this was the only option. Issue: too many fucking cameras. Too many cameras showcasing the incident from all angles. And every angle shows that this ICE agent deliberately took the life of a 37-year-old mother because of his ego, because of his power tripping. You have government officials like Representative Nancy Mace lying on air, stating that you can see the man, the ICE agent, limping away when he wasn't limping at all. He wasn't even in the path of the vehicle to be touched.
Shame!
They're lying, literally spreading propaganda because they need everybody to believe that what the ICE agent did was okay. It was good, but they're losing it. They're losing it. And now the calls, the demands for this investigation, for there to be retaliation against this ICE agent is so loud that JD Vance just today told everybody that he wants the investigation shut down. Not just that, tried to make everybody seem like they were foolish for even trying to investigate him, as apparently, and it comes out of JD Vance's mouth, ICE agents have complete immunity. Complete immunity. And so for that reason alone, he wants the investigation to be called off. They're losing it. They're losing it. If there's not going to be a World War III, no, we're headed towards that. I just want to know which one's going to come first, the World War III or the Civil War. Just look at it.
He says that the U.S. Attorney's Office has essentially cut off the state investigations agencies' access to the investigation. What is the precedent for that, and why shouldn't the Minnesota officials on the ground have access and evidence to work on this investigation?
First of all, the precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job. The idea that Tim Walz and a bunch of radicals in Minneapolis are going to go after and make this guy's life miserable because he was doing the job that he was asked to do is preposterous. The unprecedented thing is the idea that a local official can actually prosecute a federal official with absolute immunity. I've never seen anything like that. It would get tossed out by a judge. So what I'd like Minnesota to focus on is the real issue, that they're encouraging people.
So
I mean, according to what he said, right, would that mean that as long as you're an ICE agent, you could technically take out somebody who's really high up there in the rankings and completely get away with it scot-free, right? Where do YNs at? I don't think, because there's some YNs that don't got a record. Maybe y'all could sign up, get that immunity, and handle business. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about, though, this is all the evidence that's technically supporting that the Trump regime is actually starting to lose footing or lose control of the narrative that they were hoping to be able to spread with this Minnesota incident. At first, they wanted to hide the identity of the woman. They did not want to reveal that she was white. They didn't want to reveal that her child was in the car with her. They didn't want to reveal that she actually didn't do anything wrong. They didn't want to reveal that she was never in their way. They didn't want to reveal so much information.
Somebody got on this app and said their grief needs to catch up with ours. And baby, I concur. First, let me be very clear. My condolences go out to that lady and her family.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
She was murdered, and Black folks know exactly what that feels like. But what's hitting different for me is the grief I'm seeing from white people. Because when we lose someone, we don't get to just grieve. Baby, we get interrogated. What did they do? Were they on drugs? Were they a criminal? It must be more to the story. I blame the parents, as if anyone deserves to be murdered. But baby, when this happened, Black folks did what we always do. In a variety of ways, we communicated. Baby, this is wrong. Full stop. No digging, no character assassination, no trying to justify the death. But baby, we don't get that grace. Because if we're real honest, white America has never had to fully reconcile what their ancestors did, how guilt gets projected, how Black folks are treated guilty until proven innocent, and sometimes not even then, and how Black folks are denied empathy even in death. So I want to be clear that I'm not celebrating anyone's pain, but what I am saying is this. Their grief is finally touching something that we felt for generations. And all I can say is, their grief needs to catch up with our grief. All right, y'all. Bye.
The last 72 hours has been very traumatizing to the white community here in America. They've never experienced something like this before. Ever. So much is happening at once. Not just the incident itself, the brutal murder, the brutal execution by ICE agent to an American civilian, unarmed. Right? It's now the deconstruction of that it could never be me mindset. It'll always be them. It could never be me or someone who looks like me. It's only them. And I can imagine how difficult this must be for you right now. For white people, though. Only for the white community here in America. See, the Black Americans, the Black immigrants, the Black migrants, we know this feeling all too well. All too well, considering the same place in which your white woman got her face blown off, 4 blocks away, our Black George Floyd got kneeled on to the point of suffocation. We know. And to think, if only back then, the white community would have collectively joined our efforts in trying to gain justice for George Floyd, maybe Renee would still be here. But we can't play shoulda, coulda, woulda, can we? When it was Breonna Taylor who got shot, sleeping on her couch in her house, we didn't get any collective effort from you. When it was Tamar Rice who got shot for playing with a toy gun, we didn't get any collective effort from you. When it was Trayvon Martin who got shot and killed because he had an Arizona can and some Skittles, we didn't get this collective effort in trying to stop and end brutality via government-backed law enforcement, military enforcement, any of the sort. You didn't care because that mindset of it's not me, it's them. Oh, it had a hold on you. It had a hold on you. In the words of Lyndon B. Johnson, if you can convince the lowest white person that it's the Black person that they need to worry about. They won't notice that it's the white man, the rich white man that's picking their pocket. And now the veil has fallen. It's fallen. And now you're realizing, you're experiencing the same grief, the same hurt, the same anger that Black America, that the colored people here in America, that the immigrants and migrants here in America have been dealing with at the hands of you. You. Because you didn't care about innocent souls. You only cared about white lives. It's time for you to catch up, white America. It's time for you to catch up. So now you guys have Renee Nicole Good. Say her name. Say her name. Time to catch up to us. Time to catch up to us.
An ICE agent literally came over to me and said, "What did you say?" I said, "I am not afraid," and they pointed a gun in my face. ICE put handcuffs on my hands and put me in a black SUV. And then a few moments later, they came back and they said, "Are you afraid yet?" And I said, "No." And then they said it. "Well, you're white. You wouldn't be fun anyway." It was then that I knew that this staging, that these ICE raids are really about fear and intimidation.
Anyways, welcome back, guys. The fact that these people are acting as if immunity is new is what is really, really alarming for me. In fact, I need to on my fan. The fact that they're acting as if they have never heard about this is the first time they are seeing this immunity, is what is more surprising to me. Because even as someone that is not from America, I can boldly tell you that I was updated when the orange man said it. The vice president also concurs with it. So this was never a new thing. You people are just acting new and acting weird to this because it now affected your own. It now affected your own. If this was to be a situation whereby Black people, I wouldn't be seeing all of this. And it is now more annoying that you're seeing a lot of them now. They are now surprised. Oh my God, my husband did not support. I'm leaving my husband. Oh my. So the question is, are these people, are they really at the backside of America or how? Remember, there was a time Stephen Miller made a comment, he made a statement, and he said, oh, that they're about to go to jail if blah, 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 if eventually they didn't carry out, if eventually they failed, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go back to all of that, but that comment was a strong comment that made it. There are a lot of things right now that will not shock me. There are a lot of things right now that I will not be surprised about. The only thing I am praying for, and the only thing I keep advocating for, is for unity to Black Americans' end. Because these are people that have literally gone through a lot more than every other race. Black Americans have gone through a lot more than, including the so-called immigrants. Black Americans have gone through a lot in their hands. In fact, they have even gone through a lot more than immigrants that are coming to their country. So nobody should come here and start acting as if, oh, what we actually, the immunity they talked about, we were like shocked, and you're not trying to lecture us or lecture people, or whatever, on how they can actually stand up, how they can protect themselves, how they can do this, how they can do that. The only solution is, let's just keep praying and wait for what you people voted for. For the tenure to be over. So the immunity is not new. And before now, Black Americans saw this. They told you people, you were informed, you were not dumb, your eyes were open, but you still choose to do what you know how to do best. Now, I am happy that it's not only Black Americans that are crying, right? Every other races are also crying. Every other race now understand that the only people that can rule, even some ones that will still be pretending as if they don't understand, they understand it. But anyways, let me know what you think about this video, guys. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode, and this is just for educational purposes only, not to come here and ruffle on anyone's shoulder and make anyone feel uncomfortable. With that being said, with no further ado, I do like always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one.